This week we begin in PowerPoint. We're looking now at PowerPoint Module 1, Project 1. I've already downloaded the instructions here and my lesson picture. And I'm going to open up the PowerPoint project itself. And this is the one I'm going to be modifying. One thing about PowerPoint is we're going to be using a lot of the skills we used in Word. So we'll be revisiting those words. So while you're not learning something new per se, you're learning a new way to use it. So here in PowerPoint, you'll notice that the ribbon is the same just as it is in our other programs. Over here on the left-hand side of the screen, we have what is referred to as the navigation pane. This shows thumbnails of the slides in our presentation. Each one of these little areas is called a slide. Over here, the bigger part of your screen is your work area. This is where you will be doing most of your work and changing and modifying the information in your slides for this project. So for this project, we are working with the Lakewood community on their presentation for their pool. And the first thing we want to do is we want to change our title. So we have our title here in our slide 1, and we're going to change that font to Times New Roman. Now we did this a lot in Word, so it shouldn't be anything new. We're just going to highlight that text, come up here to our fonts, and scroll down to Times New Roman. Remember, these are in alphabetical order. And then we're going to change the font color to blue, accent 1, darker 25%. So up here in the font grouping, we're going to click on the theme colors for our fonts, come over here to blue, accent 1, and come down to 25%. And we're going to come down into our subtitle, and we're going to bold that text just to make it stand out a little bit. So now we're going to go to slide 2. To do that, we're just going to take our mouse over here and we're going to click on slide 2. Each of these little areas that are bounded by the little dotted lines are referred to as placeholders. And it's a placeholder that's inputted into the layout of our slide. This is a 2 content layout. You'll notice over here in the navigation pane, you don't see that box. It's not going to show up until we actually click and add text or click on one of these icons and add a different object. So once we click to add text over here and start typing, it's going to now show up over there in our navigation pane. Now I'm not using my cap locks key on my keyboard. The theme that this presentation is created in has all of the text appear as caps. So you're not going crazy. It's actually the way it's supposed to be. You don't need to turn your cap locks on. It's going to automatically change it to caps. So on our second bullet, we want it to be a second level bullet. So we're going to hit the Tab key to move it over, and we're going to let them know that the land was donated by the city. Another way that we can increase or decrease our list levels is up here on our ribbon. In the paragraph grouping, we've got our increased list level and decrease, and you can click on that and it will move our levels around. So like this one, we want to be first level, so we're going to come up here and decrease. And so now we're back to our first level list, and now we're going to let them know it's adjacent to the baseball field. And actually, I messed that up. Land donated by facility is supposed to be the first level, and adjacent to baseball field is second level. So see, it's real easy to move your list levels around if you make an error, like I just did. Now we're going to go to slide 3, and we're going to change our picture so that it is 6.5 inches wide. So I'm going to come here to Picture Tools. Again, if you don't have the picture tools, it's because you don't have your picture selected. We're going to change that to 6.5, and then we want to move it. Now, one thing that they have in PowerPoint is lines to help you position objects on your slide. So if I move my slide up, my picture up, you can see now I have that red line across the top. And if I move it over just a little bit more, now you can see I have a red line up the right side of my picture and also across the top. And so that lets me know that it's lined up properly on my slide. I can let go, and now I have my picture where I want it on the slide. On our pages down here at the bottom on our slides, we have where we can click to add notes. If you don't see this, you can click down here on the notes to turn it on, or you can also come up to the View tab and view notes. So right down here, we're just going to click and we're going to add a note. Profits from concession stand will be donated to local charity. What that's going to let us do is that lets the presenter, they can see this information, and then they can discuss that with their audience. But this will not appear on the slides, so you don't have to worry about it appearing on the slides, but you still want to make sure that you spell it correctly. So now we're going to go to slide 4. We want to change this top, instead of second phase, we want it to be phase 2. So I'm just going to get rid of the second and come down to the end of phase, add a space and the number 2. Then we want some more text added to this slide. So I'm going to add pools improve mobility, and outdoor pools have slides, and lazy river. And that the picnic area has tables and vending machines. So we're adding just more information. So even once you start creating your slides, you can go back and you can make changes as you need to. Slide 5, we want to change the layout. Now up here on our tab, our home tab, you can see where it says layout. If I click on this little down arrow, these are all the different layouts that are available to me with this theme. Now your layouts will change depending upon the theme that you've chosen for your presentation. And what's really neat is you can change your theme as you go along if you want to. You can also change your layouts. We want to change this layout to title and content, so you can see what changes it's going to make. Now that doesn't look too whippy right now, but when we get finished with it, we can go back and look at the slide again and we can see the difference because we're as it looks depending upon the theme that we have. So after slide 5, we want to insert a new slide. So we're coming up here to new slide. We're going to click on that arrow and we want to click and add a new title and content layout slide. Slide 6, and now we want to make this our last slide. So to do that, it's real simple. We're going to just click on that slide and drag it down to the bottom. So you can move slides around the order of them on your navigation pane just by clicking and dragging. On our new slide 7 here, our title is going to be Opening Spring 2021, and we want to underline this just to make a little more emphasis here. And then we're going to add a picture, our lessons picture. So I'm going to click on the picture icon. I put mine in my pictures box. Come down here, support, and I want the lesson and insert. So I've got my picture in here. We want to make it larger. So I'm going to come up here to my picture tools, make the width 7.5. And then I'm going to move this until it lines up in the center of our slide and that we have our positioning line across the top as well. So you can see I have those positioning lines down the center of the picture and also across the top. Let go. And now I'm finished with that slide. One more slide we want to take care of, and that's on slide 6. We want to add some swimming health benefits information in here. We're going to add another multi-leveled list. So the first one is gives total body workout. And now we want to add a second level bullet, so I'm just going to hit the tab to move it over. And now we want a third level bullet as well. Now we want to move back to the first level bullet, so I'm going to come up here to my decrease list level and move that back too. And one more bullet, reduce the stress. And I want to just emphasize this total body workout a little bit more. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to italicize it just to make it stand out a little bit more. Now the last thing I'm going to do to my presentation is check the spelling. It's very, very important that you make sure you spell your words correctly when you're doing a PowerPoint presentation. Nothing is more embarrassing for a presenter to have a spelling error on their slide. So you want to double check that before. The way I do that is I go to the very first slide to select the first slide. So my spell check review is going to start from the very beginning. Come over here to the review tab and click on spelling. Over here, I've got my spelling and the suggestions. I'm going to just change all and everything's correct. You still want to go through and look at your presentation to make sure everything's spelled correctly. An easy way to do that is to go up to the View tab and select Outline View. In Outline View over here on the left hand in the navigation pane, now all you see is the text. So that's a very easy way to go over here, reread your presentation and make sure everything is spelled correctly. When we're through with that, go to the normal view and you're back and you have your slides. I'm going to come down here to my slide sorter view. Here is all of the slides in my presentation. You can compare that to your instructions. Make sure everything looks correct. If everything looks fine and you're ready, go ahead and submit your presentation for grading.